That's right. Welcome to the side of the ring because it's time for some ringside rumors. I know, it's been a while. So, all right. After much deliberation, I've decided that I'm more than likely just going to start throwing out ringside rumor videos when it's a snow day. If it's not enough to like make an entire video out of it, you know, my first thought is like, well, I don't want to make it because like I don't want the video to be like poopy, you know. So I think it's best, but at the same time, I also don't want to not upload anything. So I feel as though the ringside rumors is a nice what's the word? You get the point. You know what I'm trying to say. So, without further ado, boys, we're jumping straight into it. Wrestling Observer Live's Brian Alvarez said it's a countdown now to people being axed in WWE following the announcement of Endeavor's acquisition of the company. Alvarez was mostly referring to WWE office employees with the above statement, but it sounds like many wrestlers who were previously fired by Vince McMahon, only later to be rehired by Triple H, are worried about being released again now that Vince is fully back in charge. So, for those of you who don't know, Fire Vince has been making the rounds on, I'm going to say the internet, and mainly like, not even wrestling Twitter, the mainstream Twitter, actually. That's how you know it's going well. And apparently on NXT, because I was going to talk about this in the Turnbuckle episode today, but I just couldn't find enough, topics. But so at NXT, apparently during the commercial break, a Fire Vince chant broke out, which I think is incredibly ironic because the main people who are saying Fire Vince are the main people who have their Braun Breaker merch on, who have got, the $425 replica belts that they're walking around with, right? Like the same people who are like Fire Vince, they're in the NXT crowd. They've got the WWE merch on and they've like already spent their money. So I just think that it's really funny. Those type of people are the ones who are trying to make like a big stink about it. You know what I mean? Like, listen, man, at the end of the day, I don't want to harp on this for too long because we've already got like a bunch of different topics, rumors to talk about. But look, man, I really don't think Endeavor and WWE themselves are really going to do a whole lot about this entire situation. I think at the end of the day, the only way that, any of this is actually going to make some type of like lasting effect is if it starts affecting, the pockets of the fat cats. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like at the end of the day, man, this whole Fire Vince thing, it's gonna go somewhere. Sure, it's gonna go somewhere. But I don't think it's going to go to where a lot of people are assuming it's going to go. But you know what? I say that, and I don't genuinely know how this is all going to turn out. So we really are going to have to wait and see how Endeavor feels about this whole situation and how... Well, Vince, I know for a fact, isn't going to care. But we're just going to have to wait and see if Endeavor is actually going to do something about it. Next, Tony Khan told Sports Illustrated that AEW is considering the idea of doing its own multi-day signature event similar to WWE's WrestleMania. Huh, okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Well, yeah. I mean, sure, because, I'm trying to think, right? Has there ever been a time in AEW where everybody has been like, ugh, there's too many matches? Because I think that AEW actually does a really good job in that sense, and like, they don't really put on that many matches, and the matches they do put on, it's matches that like people want to see. You know what I mean? So like, if there is like, well, no. There's been a lot of times where the cards have definitely been... I'm trying to remember, man. I'm trying to, like, think back to, like... How many matches were on All In? It's got to be at least... I don't know, actually. I don't want to, like, look it up because it's going to take a while. I don't know how I want these videos to be, so... But right now, I'm just going to say that, at least to me, I haven't really been hearing, any gripes about the cards being too long. Man, somebody help me. Next, according to Fightful Select, Ring of Honor's 6-man tag team champion Brian Cage is currently a free agent. He had an agreement to work with AEW and or Ring of Honor through the Supercard of Honor pay-per-view event on March 31st, and became a free agent at midnight after the show. There are ongoing discussions between Cage and AEW to work out a new deal. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, that's really up to Cage and what Cage wants to do. And I know how that sounds, but like, honestly, it genuinely does feel like it is solely up to Cage. Like, I don't think it's up to like AEW and how, AEW feels about him. Because, I mean, if that was the case, then you figure, Brian Cage would have definitely signed a contract, right? By now. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the fact that he's taking this long, to, come to some type of like agreement of some kind. Obviously tells you that he's, still deliberating it. Is that the right word to use? I don't know if it is. He's still thinking it over, and I don't really blame him, because when they did have him, they weren't really doing a whole lot with him. But then again, you could chalk it up to him being injured. So it's all over the place. That's why at the end of the day, man, you really gotta you gotta ask Brian Cage genuinely how he feels about it. Next, the site also indicates that Shotzi's tank was originally supposed to be used as part of her entrance at WrestleMania 39, but for some reason it didn't happen. I was thinking about that. Me and my brother were watching it, and she came in, and I was like, bro, where's her tank? And my brother was like, she's coming out with someone. And I'm like, no, they can just ride on the back of her tank. They've done it before. So, yeah, I don't know why they didn't have her tank come out. Next, PW Insider says that WWE's former Vice President of Public Relations, Adam Hopkins, has been hired by AEW and is already on the road with the company. Hopkins' exit from WWE was reported in January after he worked there for over 25 years. Listen, all right? Glad to know that Hopkins, there you go. Glad to know that Hopkins is working in a place that he wishes to. And I'm just glad that Hopkins has work, a wrestler, staff member, as long as you haven't been like cut off and now you're just like, oh no, like what am I going to do? Cause I always worry about that. So I'm glad to know that Hopkins is where he wants to be. And what better place to be than AEW right now, right? Okay. Especially right now. Okay, finally, Miro was backstage at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor last Friday despite not being booked on the show. Per Fightful, that's led to speculation he could return to AEW television soon. Or it's just, Miro being backstage. Because, there's been numerous times where wrestlers who aren't even working for the company have been backstage, and it's probably because they want to see other wrestlers or they want to talk to their friends. Miro's not banned from Ring of Honor or AEW, he just, they don't really have anything for him. And the last time we talked about Miro, he didn't really have a whole lot going on, right, in terms of story. So, I'm not going to put it past him to be like, hey guys, what's going on? Miro! And he's like, yeah, it's me, and then the song plays and everybody claps, I don't know. So, yeah, man, he's allowed to do that. Do I want to recap? Yeah, sure. Okay, it's countdown to people being axed. Alvarez was like, Alvarez, I don't mean the wrestlers, but there's a chance that it could be the wrestlers. Man, it won't be great. It won't be great. It won't be great. I shouldn't say that. It won't be great. That's not what I mean. Man, but it'd be great though, wouldn't it? Man, can you imagine? Oh my God. Oh my Lord, man. Can you imagine? Vince just starts firing people. God. Man. God. I can't say what I want to say because I'm going to sound like an absolute asshole. Man. That's all I'm going to say. AEW is considering multi-night events. Sure. I don't really, see why that's an issue. Oh, yeah, because I was like, when has AEW ever put on a show where it's been like too many matches? Again, maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an absolute moron and I don't consider other people's feelings, Maybe that's just it. But, if that's something that they feel like doing, listen, then by all means. Brian Cage, listen, man, if he wants to be with Ring of Honor, if he wants to be with AEW, that's up to him. Last time that he was there, a whole lot wasn't necessarily happening, so I wouldn't really put it past him to be like, actually, you know what? I'm not really fancying this. I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? So, it's really up to what Brian Cage wants to do. Shotzi's tank wasn't at Mania. Sad face. Adam Hopkins is working for AEW. That's good to know. And again, Miro was at Supercard of Honor. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be at AEW, but hey, we don't necessarily know, and only time will tell. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode. I want to give a shout out to everybody who decided to stop by and like the video. As always, big hugs, and big hugs all around.